Good morning, everybody. Thank you for taking the time out of, I'm sure, your very, very busy schedules today to join us to talk about the Undergraduate of the Year Awards. If you don't know me, my name is Bryony. I'm a marketing and events executive at Target Jobs, and one of my main roles is to get as many students to apply to the competition as possible. I'm their point of contact for support throughout the awards, so any questions that anybody has at all, do feel free to fire them my way. We're joined on the call today by both UK and Irish universities, as we've got both the Target Jobs Undergraduate of the Year Awards and the Grad Ireland Undergraduate of the Year Awards. Now, the UK competition is in its 14th year, but after a successful launch last year, Ireland is now going into its second year of the awards. So hopefully we can have successful years all round. So just to kind of set the scene about the awards and what they are, I'm just going to share a little video from the awards last year, which was our first in-person awards ceremony since 2019, I think.
A very, very good afternoon and a warm welcome to the Target Jobs Undergraduate of the Year Awards 2022. In partnership with SHL, thank you for being here. Thank you. Today's awards ceremony is all about meeting some of the very best, most talented, high potential UK university undergraduates, and it really is one of the most enjoyable things that we get to host.
So that was our promo video that was made from last year's awards, and just from that 3-minute clip you can really see kind of the excitement and the celebration amongst everybody in the room at the grand final last April, which seems like just a couple of days ago now. But yeah, it really sets the scene and just shows you how exciting the awards can be for students. So just to kind of go into a little bit about what the awards are, they are a national annual competition that aims to find the best undergraduate students in the UK. Students have to nominate themselves by completing an application online, and each award is partnered by a prominent graduate recruiter who offers their winner absolutely fantastic prizes. This year we've got prizes from travel vouchers to places on graduate schemes, one-to-one meetings with CEOs, and more. Prizes are just absolutely money can't buy for students, and experiences that really are once in a lifetime. So how does a student apply? They pick their award, as I mentioned, and then they start their application. Students can only apply for one award, so they need to make sure that the one that they pick is the best one that suits them. The application starts by collecting a little bit of bio data, so their name, their university, their course, and then they may have some essay questions to answer. Now, depending on the award that they choose, essay questions range from having just one to having 4 different essay questions. Some of them can be quite short, a minimum 300 words, all the way up into kind of like a mini essay at 500 words. Once students have completed those essay questions, they'll be invited to complete online tests. Again, they vary between the awards. Some have 1, some have 3. Each of them takes about 30 minutes to complete. So a maximum that a student is going to have to do is about 90 minutes. We are partnered by SHL to do the online tests for the awards. So these are tests that students would do further down the line when applying to graduate schemes. Once the students have completed the essay questions and the online tests, we would consider that application as completed, and their application would be passed over to the award partner. The award partner will then assess students either by an interview, an assessment centre. We had a few awards last year that did projects and presentations. And from that assessment stage, the award partner will pick their top 10 and their winner, who will be invited to the grand final. So the key dates to note is that the application deadline, so essay questions and online tests, must be complete by noon on the 30th of January. Now, as I'm aware at the moment, that is the same for both the UK and the Ireland competition. But the grand final for Ireland will be the 13th of April, whereas the grand final for the UK competition will be the 21st. Now, the grand final, as you saw from the video, is a really lovely event for the students. It's a real celebration. It's hosted in the UK in Canary Wharf in London. We have a celebrity host. Last year, as you saw, it was Sue Perkins. Best known from Bake Off, which I was incredibly excited about, and a lot of the students were incredibly excited about as well. They all absolutely loved her. The day starts with welcome drinks and a live band. We then have a 3-course sit-down meal where students get the chance to kind of talk to their fellow finalists, professionals from the award partner that they've applied to the award for. That is followed by a little bit of networking, just making sure that they can build up those connections from the event to take forward when they go back to university. And then finally, the most important part of the day, the winners will be announced by Sue, and the winners get to go up on stage and collect their award. Last year, we also had drinks then on the terrace, which overlooked the Thames, which really just rounded just an incredible day. It rounded it off so lovely, and just a little bit of extra celebration for everybody that had made it to that final. So why should you actually encourage your students to apply? I've gone through what the awards are, but why, what do students get out of it? So from a UK perspective, last year we found that 48% of just under 4,000 applicants heard about the awards from either their career service, a department, lecturer, or a student society. So the role that universities are playing in encouraging their students to apply is just fundamental to the awards, and it's instrumental in the success that we have every year. And I will say every year the universities and staff that do get involved are incredible, and we are overwhelmed every year with the amount of support that we have from the universities. But what really is in it for you and your students? So the awards are a fantastic opportunity for students to meet employers, to get out there, to network, to build connections with not just others that are in a similar position to them, but industry professionals in careers that they may want to go into after university. Now, as the process is built to specifically mirror a grad scheme recruitment process, whatever stage a student gets to, they have got something to take out of the process. So if they don't finish their application, but they've just done the essay questions, they've had practice at writing those essay questions. If they complete the online tests, but don't move any further, then students have practiced online tests. And every single stage, there is something that students can take out of it to learn from, to improve on, and to go forward for when they are applying for graduate schemes. If the award that they apply for has the online personality questionnaire, which is provided by SHL, that gives students a feedback report, which tells them about their strengths and their weaknesses and what they may or may not want to work on going forward before they graduate, which is just really helpful for many students. Now, in a comparative market, students are looking for something these days to set themselves apart from everybody else, and being a finalist for the Undergraduate of the Year Awards does just that. We'll be speaking to Leah and Sam later, who are alumni from the 2022 awards, and the opportunities that they've had since the competition has just been absolutely incredible. And it also gives you the chance to showcase your students' fantastic achievements at a national level. Last year, University of Sheffield had 8 finalists across 7 different award categories. And it just shows the high caliber and quality of the students that you've got at your institution. It proves it to potential students, to other HE providers, to graduate recruiters, that your students have the quality and the skills that they're looking for when they're looking to recruit their future talent. So there's absolutely everything in it for the students. There's everything in it for the universities that are involved as well. And really, you can just see from yourself from these 4 students here. We've got Tanisha, who was a semi-finalist for Black Heritage. Joe was a finalist for the Built Environment award. Sophie was a finalist for female, and then Isabel won the First Generation Award last year. They've all had incredible opportunities as a result of the awards. So it really does speak for itself. Now, there's one final reason why you should get involved this year, and it's because we're hosting our first ever career service competition. So these are the 3 categories that are going to be in the competition, and we're going to have some fantastic prizes for the universities that win in each category. We haven't confirmed what the prizes are yet, but there's rumours going around that there may be tickets to the final. So absolutely get involved. I know Laverne and Matthew that are joining us later. They're already in competition trying to see who can get the most applications. So yeah, it's absolutely something that you should get involved in. And you never know, there may be some prizes up for grabs for the office. But now we're going to hear from the experts, from people that have done it themselves, from careers staff that have experienced the awards, and they're going to tell us a little bit about why they choose to share it and what their experience has been. So if we can be joined by Matthew Howard, who is now Deputy Head of Careers at the University of Leeds, Laverne Hadfield, who's Careers Advisor at Lancaster Management School, and Imogen Hampson, who is Employer Relations and Development Advisor at King's College London. So welcome, you 3, to the call. Thank you very much for joining us. So I'm just going to start by asking a couple of questions, just so you can share your experience. But just to start with, really broad, what was your experience of the awards? I'll open it up to anybody.
I'm happy to go first. Yeah. So I started at King's last summer. I actually previously did Bryony's role at targetjobs, working on the Undergraduate of the Year awards. So I knew about the awards when I started working within the careers service here, was pretty keen to help promote it to students. So it was really fun to be able to do it from the other side, because I know from doing Bryony's role that it's kind of really rewarding when university career services do actually help promote the awards, because it's such a great opportunity for all the students. So I was able to kind of help with that. We sent out some targeted emails, did some work on social media, and kind of spread through word of mouth through the careers consultants who did the appointments with students. And then we were lucky enough to have, I think, 6 King's students reach the final last year. So I was able to go to the awards ceremony in Canary Wharf, which was really great, just to see kind of ex-GTI colleagues and other connections that I had. And it was a really great celebration. I just think it's so rewarding as a careers service personnel to be able to be involved in the success of the students as well, and to just really encourage them to apply, because it does make such a difference. I was aware when I was at uni that the awards existed, saw them being advertised, but never even thought about applying, because I just assumed, nah, I'm not good enough. And now I guess I kind of wish I had done, because it would have been such an amazing experience. As Bryony said, you don't even have to get to the final or be a winner to get something out of the experience. So I just think it's so cool for us to be able to help promote it to the students and get them to be involved, because it really can change the start of their careers.
Yeah, I'll go next, and I'll piggyback off of everything Imogen just said. I started in my role at Lancaster University in November. So I came in the thick of term 1 and everything just going with the flow, and was told, Matthew was my line manager at the time, we really have to be pushing Undergraduate of the Year awards. We've had 2 winners in the past. We need to push this out to students to get them to apply. And so I didn't have the full background beforehand as to the benefits of the awards. I knew what the website said in terms of, what the winners would get, but in terms of what the students who are applying got, I'm now seeing that since speaking to our finalists and students who've applied but didn't make it as finalists, as to what their experience was like, and being at the award ceremony, as well as to feeling the energy in the room and hearing all the projects and the work that all the other finalists did, and seeing how much they stood out just to be there as finalists, but just imagining like what the students who were at the cusp were like as well. So yeah, for me, it's been a great experience, and we hope to keep our momentum up as well, and getting students to apply and hopefully get some more finalists and a winner this year.
Yeah, and I just agree with everything that Laverne and Imogen have mentioned. So I worked at Lancaster University and promoted the awards for a number of years, and now I've moved over to the University of Leeds. So there's a little bit of competition already there, just on a personal level, I guess, and with my team back at Lancaster. But really, just to say that I think the awards are a fantastic opportunity for students, and in my previous role and in my current role here at Leeds, I can just see the benefit of students engaging with the awards to support their career development and their employability. As you mentioned, Bryony, the awards are a great way for students to practice applying to graduate level roles. I remember sitting with students who possibly would never have ever considered the awards and just going through some of the initial questions that some of the employers are asking for the award categories. And just even that initial practice is a great way for students to start to think about the skills they've got, what they should be proud of in terms of their experience so far, and where they want to be in the future as well. And so it's quite aspirational, but also really, really motivational to apply to the awards. So I've loved it, from sort of sitting with students in a one-to-one through to the finals. I've worked with some of the previous winners from Lancaster, and I hope we get some winners here at Leeds this year. And I think, what I would say overall to any careers advisor or sort of any colleague from a different service here on the call is to promote the awards to students, because it can really open doors for students who possibly never would have had that door open to them in another way. Really, it's a really sort of career defining opportunity at this part in their journey.
No, that's great. Thank you. I couldn't have said it better myself. So I know, Imogen, you touched on it a little bit, and Matthew saying that you kind of sent out emails, you included it in your one-to-ones. But what kind of methods did you use to encourage your students to apply? If we go to Laverne first,
Sure. So all the things that Matthew said, making sure that it's mentioned in one-to-ones. What we did, so the way that Lancaster University operates, our management school has a separate career service from the wider university, but we do partner together and work together on efforts. So we worked with our central careers, particularly our Grow Your Future program leader. Shout out to Hannah, who's on the call. And we partnered and collaborated on social media. We have plasma screens throughout the campus. We made sure that the graphics and marketing materials that you all send us were there prominently for students to see. We made sure that in every single newsletter that we sent out, it was in that. We actually also did a Q&A webinar at the end of November last year with our previous winners, similar to what Target Jobs actually did later that December, I believe, and just talked about what the process was like. Hear from our previous winners from Lancaster, what it was like for them, what the benefits were, particularly why they thought they should apply for it. And something that we did, which was our actually first Instagram reel, was we just did a screen record of what the website looked like, what the awards were, what the application process would be like. It's our highest viewed reel still. And it's the one that students said that they've appreciated the most and probably gave them the most insight. So that, piggybacking on the webinar that we did, it just opened the door and made things more transparent of what everything was. And students were able to actually see, oh, this person who went to Lancaster applied for this. Let me reach out to them and ask my personal questions that I have. And that was something that we actually heard from our finalists as well. That was particularly helpful.
Brilliant. And Imogen, I know you said you kind of sent out targeted emails. Was there kind of anything else that you did to push it out?
Yeah, so to kind of build on the work that you were doing in terms of contacting people within the different faculties at the different universities, we also tried to do the same as well. So I work quite closely with the law school. So I was promoting the Future Lawyer of the Year award specifically to them. Obviously, they could have applied to other awards as well, but kind of that was a good focus to have. And I think we did have a finalist actually for that award. So that paid off, which is good. And similarly to Lancaster, and I'm sure lots of other unis, we also have kind of a separate mini careers team within King's Business School. So I believe they promoted the ones that were most relevant to the business students. So we tried to kind of pinpoint it that way. A lot of the careers consultants in our careers service are linked with different faculties. So I kind of highlighted to them which awards might be most relevant to their students in the hopes that they could promote them in kind of one-to-ones or group sessions. And I'm sure that's the approach we'll take again this year as well. I think we're hoping to kind of get some kind of case studies or blogs from the finalists that we do have, which I guess will build on the work that I'm sure Bryony, your team are already doing in terms of collating kind of feedback and testimonials. So yeah, it's definitely good to have that kind of peer-to-peer marketing as well, for the students to recommend to their fellow students why they applied, because that makes it so much more realistic and real for them when they are thinking about sending an application.
No, that's great. And that's a really good idea. Actually, Laverne, I'm going to steal your screen recording idea for this year. So thank you for that one. And then just Matthew, to kind of another question, like, I know you was at Lancaster last year, you've moved over to Leeds now, but have you been able to kind of see a positive effect or any effect at all kind of on the students that attended the awards? I know we've got some students, and Laverna, I know you said Hannah is on the call. Hi, Hannah. Has reached out to me to ask if they can apply again, if they applied last year. So hopefully the students that enjoyed the process would want to do it again. But have you kind of seen anything other positive from students that have been involved?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, from applicants through to finalists, through to those students who were shortlisted for some of the assessment centres, you see a massive boost in confidence from students, and you're able to see that progress that they make in terms of their confidence around applications, but also real face-to-face assessment centres. It's really quite brilliant in that sense. I think one thing I would say as well is, like, speaking with students, sometimes they're not quite sure about kind of the process, or like how achievable it is to apply to the awards. And I think our role as careers advisors and sort of working in career services, trying to like demystify that, if you will. So I've just really loved like working with students to see that kind of that change around, that they could apply for it, that their skills are valuable, that their experience is something that will get them shortlisted is brilliant, and to really believe in themselves. I think that's something that I've loved to see. And the awards are a great opportunity, as you mentioned, Bryony, to kind of celebrate the talent at your university. But it's a great way for career services to build relationships with student groups as well. And thinking back to Lancaster, there's a really great community there now of previous finalists and winners who are willing to sort of mentor and help applicants as well. And I'm sure that's the same at other universities too. So it's a great way to bring that peer-to-peer in, and to get students to start to think about their career planning possibly from a little bit earlier on as well. I think back at Lancaster, we did promote it quite heavily in that first academic term, working really closely with academics as well, and trying to build that excitement around it. And if you can build excitement around these awards, it's a great way to get students also thinking about engaging with the career service more generally as well. So I'm sure there's been a benefit, a positive effect of students coming back to career services for other activities like appointments or career fairs or mentoring or whatever it is that we sort of run with students, because we all face problems around engagement, but something like this, the Undergraduate of the Year Awards, is a really positive way to engage students and get them excited about coming into the Career Centre more often.
Amazing. And Imogen, Oliver, do you kind of have anything to add on to that you've seen at either of your universities kind of coming in? I know we're still very early in first semester, but yeah, have you got anything to kind of add on to that?
I think, as Matt pointed out, it is a really good way of us engaging more with students and kind of getting them more involved with the career service and what we can help with. So it's not just a case of come to us for help when you're actually applying for jobs, but that we can give them support with something like this. So we would offer them a one-to-one guidance appointment to look at their application for this. Just because it's a competition doesn't mean it doesn't count. This could lead to their job, or more than that. So we would go through the application or help them with interview prep or prep for the assessment centres if they did get to that stage. As you say, it's just great practice for them, whatever stage of the competition they get to. So it's great to have that connection with the career service over it.
I concur with both Imogen and Matthew.
No, that's brilliant. And then just kind of one final question from you all. Really appreciate the time that you've given us today. If there was one thing that you could give advice to other members of staff at universities about helping or encouraging their students to apply, what would it be? And I'll open it out to whoever wants to go first.
I think for me, it's about building that excitement and sort of sharing with students that you believe in them. Whether that's in a one-to-one, in a newsletter, in a lecture shout out, just showing your students that you are sort of backing them, that you're there to support them as much as possible, and that we want them to do their absolute best, because we know that they can. I think it's kind of, for me, that's what it's all about, really.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off of that. in terms of promoting the awards, to tell them to do it. There's literally nothing to lose. There's more to gain than there is to lose. And it's your opportunity to practice those skills, gain those skills, go through experience the different steps that you would be when you're applying for a graduate job 2-3 years in the future. But to put yourself out there, to stand out, and just amplify and showcase that we are here for you, we support you, we know you're capable of this. And if you have any trips or questions along the way, come see your career service, because we're here to help you and support you in all the things.
Completely agree. And definitely, if there are willing finalists or winners or just other student participants that have applied in previous years, get them involved too to help promote it, because they can actually kind of talk the other students through their entire experience of the awards and kind of bring it more to life, which is really great to see.
Amazing. And Imogen, we've just actually had a question. I'm sure you've seen it in the chat. With you saying that you didn't think you were good enough when you were at university to apply for the awards, if you were talking to yourself now when you was at university, how would you persuade yourself to apply?
I think I would view it as kind of, you've got nothing to lose, as we've said already. Like the initial section on the application form, it's really easy. You just have the long answer questions from the employers. I think view it as practice as well. Like you've got nothing to lose. If you get rejected at the first stage, then you've had experience of a genuine application process. It's very similar to what you would experience for applying to an actual job. And it's just good to kind of have a kind of, I guess, a sense of community as well, knowing that there's loads of other students involved. And if you are lucky enough to get through the different stages, we were talking earlier before we actually started the event about how there's such great connections that are made from this. Like finalists connect with other finalists from different universities at the awards ceremony, and now setting up societies together. I think Bryony was saying, like, it's fantastic. So I think, yeah, I would just tell myself to go for it. Like there's literally nothing to lose. You could probably sit down and write your entire initial application in a day if you tried really hard. I think a lot of students do that and do it right before the deadline in January. So yeah, nothing to lose, and definitely encourage that to the students, but maybe encourage them to apply a little bit more than 24 hours before it closes.
Yeah, please don't do that, because I'll have a heart attack. So if you can get them to apply not 24 hours before the deadline, that would be great. But we all know that me myself, when I was at uni as well, last minute Larry all the way through. But thank you very much to the three of you for joining us. Your advice and insights have been absolutely second to none. I would now like to invite to join us Sam Winton, who was a finalist for LGBT Undergraduate of the Year last year with Clifford Chance. And we've also got Leah Hughes, who won the Software Engineering Undergraduate of the Year award with Skyscanner. So if we invite them to the call. We'll just wait for Leah to join. But welcome, Sam.
Hello.
And Leah. Oh, and
Bobo. Say hi,
oh,
Bobo.
that has made my day, Leah. Thank you. Nothing makes a Tuesday better than a cat on a FaceTime call. But welcome to the call, both of you. As I mentioned, Leah was a winner for Software Engineering. Sam was a finalist for LGBT. They have both had incredible success stories from the competition. So just to start with, Sam, do you want to go first and just kind of tell us what's happened since the awards?
Yeah, so since applying, I applied in my last year of university, so I was very much going through sort of final exams and graduation and the sort of career panic of, what am I going to do once this is all over? Since the sort of the final day, I went and did an internship with Clifford Chance over the summer, and then from that actually got an offer of a training contract with them. So I'm now in the process of converting my previous degree into a law degree and pursuing a career in law, which is something I'd never even considered. It wasn't even on my radar. My university didn't even offer law as a degree, so it was something that was completely foreign to me. So it's something that's really exciting and really new as well for me.
What was your degree initially?
So I did economics and international relations, which makes me sound even more boring than when I say I do a law degree now. But slow steps,
No,
moving it up.
If there's any words to describe you, Sam, boring is definitely not one of them. You're one of the smiliest people I think that we had at the final. So we absolutely love that. And Leah, if you want to share kind of your success since the final.
Yeah, well, as the winner of the Software Engineering Undergraduate Award, I was offered an internship with Skyscanner, so I completed that this summer, and I've been kept on part-time. Sorry, I was a third-year student when I in Scotland. That's the important part. A third-year student in Scotland, so I was in my penultimate year when I applied. So I did my internship this summer, and I'm currently working part-time, 1 day a week with Skyscanner, and I've been offered a place on their graduate program once I finish at the end of this year. So that's exciting.
Exciting, but also I'm sure very scary.
A little bit.
We actually went to Skyscanner HQ for another event late June, and we got to see Leah in her Skyscanner environment, and it was all just very exciting. I am very jealous, but it's nice to know that students are getting these absolutely fantastic opportunities from the awards. So, Leah, if we come back to you, where did you hear about the awards? And you can say when you applied.
Yeah, apologies for the cat. Yeah, I heard about it from an email from one of my lecturers who likes to send out weekly industrial emails with, chances for internships, opportunities, things like that. And he actually sent out an email saying that the deadline had been extended for the Software Engineering Undergraduate of the Year Awards. So this was very, very close to the actual awards themselves. And I was like, might as well. And I applied, I believe it was in the March. And literally 2 weeks later, I was having to fly down to London for my in-person interviews.
And you won. So
I won somehow.
Yeah, it just goes to show that one email that you had, and you're a winner. So if you hadn't have had that email, who knows?
Yeah, well, I hadn't even heard of them before that, so.
Yeah, no, so that's absolutely incredible. And Sam, where did you hear about the awards?
So I had sort of heard about them previously, sort of in my first year, second year, and thought, oh, that's something for final year, not to think about it. And then had forgotten all about them until a friend of mine sort of forwarded it on from the School of Management that they'd been really promoting it amongst their management students. And she'd forwarded it on sort of saying, oh, you should look at this for LGBT Undergraduate of the Year. And I sort of thought, do I want to apply? I really ummed and ahed about it. And then I thought, on the one-off, I'll put in an application. The worst it's going to be saying is that no. And I was doing so many applications at that point anyway for other jobs that I was like, it's just one more to the list. And then lo and behold, it was the one that ended up being the most successful. So, and the most fun, I will say.
Amazing. No, that's absolutely brilliant. Thank you. And kind of, how did you find the process? So from starting the application kind of through to the final. I know, Leah, you said you had to fly down to London for your assessment centre. So I'm sure your experience was pretty intense.
Yeah, I guess I'll go first. Yeah, so it's like from the start of the application, I put in my application paper. I was emailed the same day to say, we need you to do an online coding test. So I think I did it a couple of days after that. And then about a week after that, I got an email saying, hey, can you do like a face-to-face, not face-to-face, sorry, it's like a Zoom meeting interview. And I was like, okay, cool. I've already got further than I thought I was going to get. So I had that Zoom meeting with the lovely Chelsea from Skyscanner, and she asked me if I could fly down to London the next Tuesday. And this was on Friday. And I was like, yes. So I flew down to London. The reason why was because I applied so late. The only interview day, because they did group interviews left, was one in London. If I'd applied earlier, I could have gone to Edinburgh, which would be a little bit easier because I'm up in Aberdeen. So I flew down to London for that. And then I didn't hear about that for, I think it was a week. And then I heard back from that. I got my interview feedback. But the email that I got back inviting me to the interview feedback meeting was like, oh, we want to give you some feedback. Have you got some time for us to give you some feedback? And I was like, oh, I haven't got it. Like, they just wanted to like tell me how I did. I haven't got it. And then I got on the call and Chelsea went, you've got it. I was like, oh And this is actually during my exam period, so I was very, very, very busy. But I managed to make time and come down for the awards in London. And honestly, I'm so glad because it's such a good experience.
No, that is absolutely amazing to hear. And Sam, kind of, was it similar, different experience of the process?
It was slightly different. I'd applied sort of when the email had come out, and I think that was very early on in semester one. So I had sort of sent in an application and kind of forgotten about it.
You were organised.
And then saw an email come through later being like, oh, it's closing. And I thought, oh, I'll just check in and see if I've like actually heard anything. And I think I remember emailing Bryony going, Bryony, do you know if there's anything coming of this? Or just so that I know like when to sort of go, right, okay, forget about that, move on to the next thing. And I think it was not a week later that Clifford Chance emailed saying, we'd like to invite you down for an in-person assessment day. And I, again, had to fly down to London to their offices there. Which are amazing, get a tour of the swimming pool and the spa and the gym and all of that, which really sold me on the career in law if I thought I could get a swimming pool in an office. And again, met some really fantastic people. And similarly, we sort of got only a week's notice and I was up in St Andrews. So it was very much a panic stations, let's try and find a flight and a train and get down there. Had the assessment day and met some of the incredible people on it, and the actual winner Joel was in my assessment day group, and sort of hearing his experience was like, well, I'm never going to come back because this man is incredible. Like some of the stuff that the people were talking about, we had like an ex-West End actor, we had Shay was an ex-West End actor, Joel started Nigerian Pride. I was sort of sitting there going, oh, okay, let's enjoy today and forget about it. And then was asked to come back down for National Student Pride and then as well for the final. And similarly, they were all during my exam period, my final year, and I had an exam the day after the final. So my economics exam, thankfully, was from home, but I had to go back to my hotel room after the final and get ready for my final exam. So it was a very intense period, but so much fun as well.
No, I can actually remember talking to you about your exam on a Saturday. Who puts exams on a Saturday? That should be illegal. But, you know, when you're a solicitor, maybe you can get it sorted that exams on a Saturday will be illegal. But yeah, how did you kind of find the final? Because I know, Sam, you said there, when you went to your assessment centre, you heard everybody else's story and thought, do you know what, I'm out. From myself speaking to literally nearly every student in the room that had made it, everybody said, I don't know why I'm here. And the amount of imposter syndrome that was in the room from winners and finalists, I mean, I'd been lucky enough to be able to kind of have a little peek through all of your applications. And I knew why you were all in the room because you had all done incredible things. So how did you kind of deal with like the final and the imposter syndrome? Was it nice to be in that room with all those people, knowing that you are on the same level?
I can answer that a little bit. My first answer was I dealt with it with the copious amounts of free prosecco and the lovely food as well, which is probably not the answer that people want to hear, but it was nevertheless one of the coping strategies. The other was, I think, as well, it taught me so much about different areas. I'd been very specialised in sport, and my background has been sport for all of my work and all the stuff I'd done. So it felt very difficult to compare because sort of the struggles that we face in sport within the LGBTQ plus spaces are sadly very far behind where everyone else was. So everyone else, some people that we were working with were running trans healthcare charities and working in trans healthcare, when we're still trying to get trans people to come to sport and actually be represented. So I think that really sort of contributed massively to the feeling of imposter syndrome of, oh, I've not made the progress some of these people have made, and I've not advanced the cause of LGBTQ plus people as much as some of these people because of sport. But at the same time, it also has taught me a lot about what's going on elsewhere and stuff that I've been able to bring into sport to help me advance that cause further. So I don't think I've fully still have got over the imposter syndrome there, but it's definitely helped me develop and take the things I'm passionate about further. by learning from people who share that passion as well. And we still meet up every now and again to check in with one another. I was meeting up with Luke the other week, and we talked about what he'd been doing since, and finding out what we can learn from one another and what we can continue to do. So it's really given me that fantastic network of people that are continuing to drive for that change.
No, that's really amazing, and so lovely as well to hear that you all still meet up. It just warms my heart. And Leah, obviously, how did you feel?
Yeah, I think I had a little bit of a boost because I emailed you, Bryony, and I said, this is really short notice and it's going to cost a lot of money to get down and I don't know if I can come. And Bryony was like, we are getting you to this event. So I think that helped because you've been so supportive and like just even getting me there. I think it was like, okay, like I know that there's people here who are really like happy to welcome me. And as well, because I flew down to London for my interview, there was actually a lot of people there that I'd already met on my interview day. And I think that really helped as well, just take my mind off it, just like talk to different people that I'd already kind of met. Yeah, but honestly, the people that were up for the award were honestly so incredible. Some of them were telling me about the things they achieved. Like there's people with companies, they're not even out of uni and they've got companies and they've done this and they've done that and the other. And it is just like, oh my God, how am I on the same level as this? But I don't know. I think it's potentially I had a little bit of a different experience because I am a woman in a field where there is not a lot of women. So I'm kind of just used to that feeling of like I'm a bit out of place here. But yeah, honestly, I think I'm the kind of person who I just kind of throw myself into things and just try not to think about the kind of negative side of it. So yeah, it's like it's not that it wasn't there, it's more that just there was too much other exciting stuff going on to.
Yeah. And do you both feel like you've like grown in self-confidence since the awards that now you're like, no, actually, no, I should believe in myself because I am amazing and I can do this. Do you feel like being part of the awards kind of giving you that feeling?
Definitely trying. Definitely trying to reach that level of like, yes, I'm amazing. Like not quite there yet. But yeah, definitely. I think just getting to talk to people who are in the same space, like Sam said, like talking to other applicants, talking to like even coming back to uni and talking to my course mates and stuff, like you do kind of get that different perspective of like what you actually have achieved, even just by getting to the final. So it's good.
I have to say, for me, it massively improved my confidence. Like I say, the achievements I'd had in sport felt really, really minor to me, and to get someone elsewhere and external go, no, these are really impressive, really, really did make me believe in myself a lot more, and gave me the confidence to market myself a little bit better. And that was really, really important, considering a month later I was out of university and sort of in the wind a little bit. But I definitely say as well, it helped open so many more doors. And just over the summer, there were so many things, not just through Clifford Chance, but I got to work with the Commonwealth during the Birmingham Commonwealth Games, and those sorts of opportunities that would never have happened had the awards not given me the sort of confidence, but also the profile to be able to sort of stand there and say, no, I am one of 10 fantastic people, and I'm here to, and I have a voice and I have something to say, and it's something that someone like Clifford Chance and Target Jobs values, so you should value it as well. It is really, really great.
Yeah,
No.
if I can add to that as well, like I think the feedback, I don't know if you got the same, Sam, but I think the feedback we got on our interviews is very helpful. Like just having someone objectively who is, who is looking at these things every day, go, no, this is a good application, like you've done well, is really nice and really like confidence boosting.
Definitely, like I don't know what Skyscanner is, but Clifford Chance, we got like little numbers for each category, and to get our numbers back was fantastic, because it was just like, wow, okay, so weirdly enough, I got very good enthusiasm and smiliness, but knowledge of law was lacking, which wasn't a surprise, seeing as I didn't know anything about the law. But those sort of very, like you say, objective numbers were very, very helpful, because it did strip a little bit of the, oh, they don't like me because they don't like me, or they don't think I'm good enough. They're going, no, you are good, but these are the areas you need to work on more. So.
Oh yeah, like I said, I got my feedback in a meeting, so it was a bit more verbal. It wasn't numbers, but I got some very specific stuff, which was quite nice. Like it was like you took charge, but you didn't like diminish other people's role. Like, so it's like really specific feedback, which is I found really good.
No, that's absolutely amazing to hear. And kind of the final question that I want to ask you both is, did you have any support from your university? And if you didn't, what could your university have done to maybe support you more? Obviously, we're trying to get more career services involved, and we've got 2 people that went through the process. So what kind of advice would you give to staff that are looking to get more students involved?
I'll let you take that one, Sam, because I think you said you'd heard about it before and stuff. So
Well, I have to say I didn't get any support from my university for the application. It was something that, trying to be diplomatic, did really frustrate me, because we did have another St Andrews applicant in a different area whose support was a lot greater, and it was a source of frustration, because it's something that I'd experienced throughout my career with St Andrews, that if you weren't interested in the typical consultancy or banking routes, or those weren't your backgrounds, it wasn't something that the Career Centre were necessarily keen to support you on, or that's sometimes how it felt. Once I graduated and got through to the final, actually I got to work with the careers department a lot more, and we had a long chat about what could have been done a lot more. And I know now some of the new staff are really working on expanding horizons and going beyond the typical banking consultancy routes to try and embrace things like law and sport and some of the other interests that I shared. It was, but I can't slate them too much, because a bit like Leah said, there's a lot of expense involved of sort of flying down to London, finding accommodation. And whilst Clifford Chance and Target Jobs offered some support, there were some bits where I couldn't have done it without the help of the university and the team there, and sort of putting my hand up and going, I can't actually attend this unless someone gives me some financial support, and the university very did kindly do that. So
I remember the email that I got from yourself for your expenses, and it said something along the lines of "Big up St Andrews."
Yeah, so definitely, like, whilst the sort of informational support wasn't there, or the sort of the more pastoral support wasn't there, the actual resourcing behind it was. So I would definitely say that both need to be there, and that the career centres are that really vital point where they meet. And I really wish that next year, and that St Andrews will have loads of applicants this year, and the career centre will be really on it, and they'll act as a really good locus for that. But it did just feel a little bit disjointed. So that was, I think, probably the long story short, the feedback I would give is trying to make sure it's all centered in one place, rather than the student who's already got the stress of trying to deal with the application process and exams and uni and everything else, to sort of only have one place that they need to go, rather than chasing loads of different departments up.
No, that makes perfect sense. And I'm really glad as well that you were able to kind of have the conversation with your career service kind of after the awards. So it's really nice that hopefully now they've had, as you said, like 2 finalists. Fingers crossed that there's going to be loads more finalists from St Andrews. And I've only just put 2 and 2 together that Sam, you were St Andrews, and Leah, you were Aberdeen. So we've got the Scotland universities on call. They were clearly doing something right to find both of you 2 stars. But Leah, kind of what support would you have wanted? I know you found out about the competition.
Well, the reason I handed it over to Sam is because my career service found out that I'd entered when they got the email inviting them to the final. Because I found out through one of my lecturers rather than the career service, I can't really say what support would have been there. Because again, it moved really quickly, so there wasn't even really time. But I think the main thing for me would have just been putting the word out more, because I had never heard of the Undergraduate of the Year Awards until I got that one email going, oh, the deadline's been extended. Like, that's how I found out it existed. So I think that's definitely something, is to make sure that it's being advertised, because people can't apply for something they don't know exists. But yeah, I do agree with Sam as well. I think definitely having that pastoral support there is so big, because a lot of people just will look at it and go, oh, that's too hard, and then they'll just forget about it. And these are people who are incredibly intelligent, like have achieved incredible things, but because of the application form, they're like, oh, I can't do that. So I think definitely having that support there would help.
No, that is absolutely fantastic. And thank you very much for kind of sharing both these stories of the awards. I really appreciate it. Apologies again for continuing to pester you from day one of your application all the way up until now. It's been like 6 months since the final.
We love it, Bryony.
And I'm still in their inbox every day, wanting to know what they're doing. So yeah, really, really appreciate your support, and hopefully we will catch up again very soon.
Hopefully.
Thank you both. Brilliant. So I hope that kind of just gives you a real insight into the awards, kind of why from a university perspective, why from a student perspective. It's clear to see, obviously, with Sam and Leah and a whole host of our other finalists, why the awards are so incredible. I think one of our most proud statistics from last year was out of 60 students that went to a Rolls-Royce assessment centre, 54 of them were offered placements. So the awards just are opening doors left, right and centre. But yeah, if you want any more information at all, please do reach out to me. No question is a silly question. And if it is, I've already asked it, so you don't need to worry about that. We've got QR codes on the screen, which will take you either to the UK site or the Ireland site, depending on where you're based. But yeah, absolutely. You'll get an email after the session is finished, and it has my email address in. So any questions at all, feel free to reach out. This year, we've got 13 awards for the UK competition and 7 awards for the Irish competition. So we're very excited to get going and see lots and lots of applications. But just quickly, before you go, I just want to give you a quick 5-minute introduction to some of the other events that we host. Obviously, Undergraduate of the Year is my baby. I love it to pieces. But we do have some incredible other awards that students can get involved in, events that they can get involved in, where you don't necessarily have to enter a competition. So this year, for the first time ever, we have partnered with Rolls-Royce to offer the Mental Health and Wellbeing Conference, which is going to be held live at the Custard Factory in Birmingham. So any of our Midlands universities that are on the call today, we would absolutely love to see all of your students attending in person. We are offering a contribution to travel expenses. So anybody from universities a little bit further away, absolutely still get your students involved, and we'll see what we can do to get them there. The reason that we've partnered for this event with Rolls-Royce is because 4 in 5 students have admitted to feeling lonely, either daily, weekly or monthly in the last year. And 4 in 5 students at some point have experienced mental health difficulties. And that's come out of our research with our partner, Sybil. So this event is something that we feel really strongly about. As a student, I struggled with my own mental health, and something like this to connect with other students that are going through the same thing would have been absolutely amazing. We've got keynote speakers from GPs. We've got Dr. Rada. We've also got Ben West, who is a mental health ambassador. We're going to be having kind of stress management sessions, ways to manage your finances, how to deal with uncertainty at university, all things that we know students deal with, and just giving them the tools so they know how to deal with the pressure when it comes to it. We all know university is a high pressure environment. So any way that Target Jobs and Rolls-Royce can help students deal with that, then we want to give them the tools to do so. And finally, we've got our host of all other experiences and programs, from our STEM events to social mobility and a wide range of law events. Our National Pupillage Fair is the UK's most established pupillage fair. Our Aspire series, which is for Black heritage students, that's tripled since just 2020. So in 2 years, we've got 60 plus employers across all the events, and that is forever growing. We're getting more employers joining us every single day. So these events for students are crucial in them creating connections. We've had people make connections and then get invited to assessment centres for graduate schemes and all sorts. So it is absolutely fantastic. I mean, our next one, our first one of the year is going to be IT's Not Just for the Boys, which is on the 21st of October. I am so excited for this one. We're going to be joined by Chelsea Jarvie as our keynote speaker. Chelsea Jarvie actually attended IT is Not Just for the Boys when she was at university. She also won the Computer Science Undergraduate of the Year award back in 2015, and she now runs her own cybersecurity business and is the go-to for anything cybersecurity for BBC Scotland. So I am over the moon to get the chance to meet her at the event. So all of the events, again, any questions at all, please feel free to reach out. I would love to hear from you all. And even more so, we would love to see all of your students getting involved wherever they can. But just from me, thank you very, very much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. And I hope this just kind of gives you a real insight into what the awards are, why they're so important, and why they're just so incredible for students to get involved in. But yes, thank you very, very much. And I hope you all have a fantastic rest of the week.